Where there's life, there's hope. We'll break down the Hogs' NCAA tourney chances coming up on this edition of the Hog Central Podcast.
This is the Hog Central Podcast. And now, here's your host, Steve Sullivan.
Welcome to the Hog Central Podcast. A pleasure to be alongside the walk-on wonder from Wabaseka down in South Arkansas, Ernie Murry, maybe the best walk-on ever, and Mr. Hog basketball, always a glass half full guy. Matt Zimmerman joins us, Coach Z from Fayetteville. All right, gentlemen, I get asked all the time, what is wrong with these Hogs? Let's go back to the preseason and think of the three most anticipated newcomers. Boogie Fland, the five-star guy. Where's he now?
He's hurt.
He's hurt. Jonas Adu, how many minutes did he play last Saturday?
Oh, God. He didn't even play in the second half.
8 minutes, 43 seconds.
8 minutes.
Wow.
And John L. Davis, he's shooting, but he's not hitting. He's shooting. He's consistent. He's shooting 27% from the floor and 27% from three-point range.
Coach Cal says, he's coach. What's the coach always say? He said, you don't have to make them all. You just can't miss them all.
That's a good one.
Hey, let's go back to that last play.
Oh, man.
And, you know, I'm not a basketball expert, but I would have rather seen Thero inbounding the ball if you're throwing it to Big Z, and maybe he curls around and gets some momentum going to the hoop with the basketball, because that's the guy I wanted with the ball.
Well, when I saw the play and Big Z caught the basketball, and I thought he was going to attack, but then we swung the basketball to Nelly, and if you look at the play, Nelly is behind the backboard. I'm still trying to figure out where is he going. He's behind the backboard. So, you know, I think you want your best player to have the basketball at that point. And to me, that's Thero. I want him to go downhill. And the way the game was being called, if you go to the hole, we probably would have gotten a foul.
How about Coach Z? You weigh in on this.
Tough one. Yeah. I kind of like when we had the ball after the illegal screen. We're coming down the floor. And, you know, they got the ball to the right side of the floor. We looked like we had pretty good spacing there. DJ got a little bit tight over there to Gucci Rowe, and him and Cal both at the same time called timeout. I wouldn't have minded just letting that play, and I was kind of hoping DJ would move it to his left hand and drive, and then maybe that leads to getting it to Adu, and he drives and can go score. But the timeout was good. Let's get under control. We stacked it up, sideline play from Gucci Rowe, and you're right, it goes to Z, and that was a little surprising. He can pass. He averages about assist a game in the league, though, and when he took off dribbling with his right hand, that surprised me a little bit. And then I didn't know what was going to happen. And, you know, Nelly made a good cut. And, you know, believe it or not, that guy was on Nelly. I don't know how they got the ball to him on the baseline, because he got it through a lot of traffic to get him the ball. Nice little pass by Z. But you're right, Ernie. Nelly ended up on the other side of the basket and kind of under the hoop a little bit, and he kind of had to contort his body to try to get a shot up. That's not going to call a foul there. If you're going to call a foul, that kind of a wild shot, it would have to be like really hacking him across the arm to get that call. So I was not surprised there was not any kind of foul. And then when their little guard, Duke Miles, grabbed the ball, we kind of were like stunned.
Yeah.
You got to get there and foul. And as we started going to him, he kind of outsmarted us and threw it around us. And Jalen Moore catches it and dribbles out, 4 seconds and dunks the basketball. It'd have been nice for Adu or DJ to be driving. That's what we do best. They can kick it out.
Yeah, they were on the other side of the floor. Now DJ was open in the corner. I don't think Adu. Yeah. Nelly was too concerned with his two defenders to do anything with the ball. Hey, another thing, you pile on when things are going bad. And you don't point out plays like this if you lose the game. But you're up 6 points, and Arkansas doesn't get a 6-point lead that often. And you're feeling momentum. And then you have back-to-back fouls on three-pointers. And I'm thinking, Z doesn't have to block the shot. He just has to go in the air, and he'll affect a shot. And it just was wow, and they hit all 6 shots, and it's a new game, and you gave them that.
Well, and at that point, Oklahoma was struggling to score. They couldn't even throw it in the ocean, and they hit 6 free throws on 2 fouls that gave them momentum, put them back in the basketball game. You are correct, Sully. You don't foul in those instances. You play good defense, and if the guy make a great shot over you, so what? But I think we gave them momentum and we gave them life.
A lot of people, Z, said they weren't fouls, but you contend, and you're a glass 99% full guy. They were fouls.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the one on Northweather, he caught, Z blocked. He tipped it. I mean, the ball didn't even get to the basket. Yeah. He tipped it. But he put so much effort into tipping it, and he did tip the ball, but his momentum carried him right into the shooter, and the referee's right there. That was a foul. And then Nelly whacked him and got into his arm. And so both of them were fouls, unfortunately. But you think on the road, Northweather going to the line, he's going to maybe make 2 of 3,
Yeah.
He goes 3 for 3. And the other kid goes 3 for 3.
Right.
Yeah.
You think out of 6 free throws, they'd miss 1. But that was the biggest turn of the momentum in the game because we had taken momentum. The crowd was tremendous. There was a huge crowd. Sold out as always, but there was probably 18,500 there. It was a full house other than a few empties just here and there. And there was so much energy in the bud. That let the air out. And then we were in for a dogfight, and that gave Oklahoma confidence. And they had a good enough player that could control the ball, Jeremiah Fears. We did a decent job on him. He got 16 points.
7 of 7 from the free throw line.
Fears was able to kind of keep him in it.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about Adu. His minutes haven't been messed with pretty much this season when he's been healthy. And he only played under 9 minutes and didn't really scratch. I think this is a big game coming up Saturday for him to see how he reacts. If he fights, if he's mad, if he comes in there with a point to prove, or if he just, says, hey, whatever.
I think Coach Cal said it best in his press conference. He went with who he thought had the hot hand at the right time. And Big Z did play a good game. But Adu has got to contribute. If this basketball team is going to be anywhere near successful, he has to be a big factor inside for us.
Z, you're awfully quiet up there.
Yeah, I agree there. He didn't play well. Yeah, he just didn't play well enough, Sully. And you got to get more out of him and Trevin, both. Those are 2 older guys. Both fourth-year guys have been in college basketball. That's 8 years of the SEC, 4 each, because they're both in their 4th year. And you just got to get more out of them, whether it's just full-out effort, making some shots, rebounding, blocking shots, playing great defense, the whole package. We're going to have a little bit more out of Trevin and to Jones. I think they're trying, but they're going to have to dig a little deeper for us to win. And that's going to be – if we're going to win in Lexington, those 2 got to play well.
Kentucky is one of those teams that got the back end of the scheduling. I mean, they're a tough schedule, Kentucky has, and Alabama has a tough schedule too. They play Tennessee tonight. I'd almost rather see them beat Tennessee.
Yes, I hope they go but beat Tennessee.
I don't want a desperate Kentucky team facing Cal on Saturday night.
Well, and they got this game circled. I
don't think that's going to happen.
No, they got this game circled. He's coming back to Kentucky. Hey, I don't care if they beat Tennessee. They're going to be jacked for Arkansas.
We talked about this on our weekly edition with Coach Z about what kind of reception Coach Cal's going to get. And you hope you saw it at the SEC tournament. It can't be that bad. The hope they look at the big picture and what that guy devoted his life to. I mean, he hadn't spent anywhere near that much time at any other school, brought him a national championship, and all the great players that he brought through Lexington. You look at the NBA, and it is incredible the success his Kentucky players have had. You think they'd think about that when they see him come on the court on Saturday night. Wouldn't you think, Z? And you've been on the flip side. You were with the Missouri and Mike Anderson, different circumstances, but that had to hurt to hear the way the fans of Missouri treated you guys.
I never heard anything. Still to this day, I've never heard a coach yelled and screamed and butchered like Mike Anderson was. Saw cups come at his head, walking off the court. Incredible hatred that they had for a man that those last 3 years there had won the most games that they'd ever won in a 3-year period. Kentucky shouldn't have that. Cal left on his own, just like Coach Anderson left on his own. But he was there 15 years. And as you said, all those great achievements that he had. And every time you watch an NBA game, 2 or 3 or 4 guys playing in that game were stars at Kentucky. Every NBA game that you watch, every team's got an NBA, got a Kentucky Wildcat, except for like 4. And what he did was incredible. And I think hopefully there'll be people there when Coach comes out that'll cheer for him, because he put a lot into that program. Not only him, Kenny Payne worked there, not the whole time, but part of it. Ken Coleman and Chuck were there for a year or two each. Our general manager, Chris Woolard, he was there for 15 years. People like that. Bruiser Flint was there for several years with him. Brad Calipari, his son, who's on our staff. Tyler Eulis is on our staff, who played at Kentucky, a great player at Kentucky. So hopefully their fans will show some love to those men and be respectful. When, like me and you talked about on KATV, I think about our 3 players that wore that Kentucky uniform, and it meant something to them. And they represented Kentucky the right way, and now they're going to be back there. It's going to be weird for them, but hopefully they take it easy on them. Hopefully they cheer for them a little bit. And then you also have 2 McDonald's All-Americans. Would have been 3 with Boogie, but 2 that were going to go there, that signed there, that wanted to play at Kentucky. That ended up following the coach to here. And so hopefully the fans will take it easy on those guys. Coach Cal deserves some cheers in the place that he was at for 15 years.
I was reading I think it's Matt Jones of Kentucky Sports Radio, saying what a good relationship he had with Z and those other 2 players. And you look at the way Z is playing right now. His line from the other night, he played 25 minutes, 4 of 10 from the field, 2 of 5, 2 of 6 from three-point range, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 turnover, 3 block shots. He's making stuff happen.
I thought he had Oklahoma intimidated to drive to the basket because he was affecting so many shots. And
he has good instincts on the defensive end.
He's very smart. And then they started bringing him out on the floor so they could back doors and get some easy shot. He had the basketball game. In the post, Big Z was the man. And I understand why Coach Calipari stayed with Z. Z is a player that affects so many areas of the game. He blocks shots. He can shoot the 3. He rebounds. He understands Coach Cal's system, too. And I think that's why he may be a little bit ahead of Adu, because he understands what Coach Cal's system is about.
You know what Kentucky fans don't want to see? A repeat of his first game eligible for Kentucky. I think it was against Georgia.
Yes.
He blocking shots, hitting threes. They were thinking they had the next Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
He threw behind the back pass.
Yes. Maybe he'll be motivated. I think he's the type of guy that reacts to stuff like that, the crowd and everything. He's so animated on the court.
So much emotion. I love that about him. A lot of that's his European flair. The other night he had not made a 3 in 3 or 4 games. We're at Missouri, drills that 3, and he came out, blocked the shot, went down the floor, hit a 3, and he looked over to our bench, kind of shrugged like, why haven't you been letting me do that? And he threw the 3-point symbol, and he gave a couple other, gestures to our own bench about, hey, I can do this. And if something goes wrong or goes right, he's always gesturing out there. So I agree with you. He's got such a good attitude. He's a fun kid to be around. I think Adu Thero will be super dialed in. He's a more quiet, more serious kid. And I think he spent 2 years there, Sully, Ernie. I think Thero is going to go there and make a statement. And he's good enough and strong enough. And guarding the drives and cutting off drives and being physical is not the strength of this Kentucky team. These guys shoot, pass, dribble. They're skilled. But beating guys up like Adu Thero has not been what they do.
Right.
And then the same thing for DJ Wagner. They beat us 109 to 102 in Rupp last year. He was outstanding in that game. He's had big games in Rupp Arena before. He's going to be very determined to play there. So I can't wait to see what happens on Saturday. I look forward to it so much.
On the flip side, you have Jackson Robinson for Kentucky.
Who's upset?
Who played at Texas A&M. Then he went to Arkansas. Didn't get any playing time. And then he went to BYU and blew up with Coach Pope. And now he's one of their, along with Brea, he's one of their 3-point bombers. And he'd like to stick it to the Hogs. I remember being with his mom out there in San Francisco, and she was so happy that first year. I think Moses Moody was on that team. How, just playing for the Hogs. I think he got escorted out by Muss. I don't think they wanted him back, and I don't think that went over well with the family. So they'll remember that. And there's so much stuff going on between these two teams that that's going to be such a compelling Saturday night.
Well, I think for those guys that played at Kentucky to go back and play against Kentucky, it's going to be a little different. You used to going in the home locker room. Yeah. Now you're going to be going in the business locker room.
You know what Kentucky fans say about those three? They were playing for Cal, not Kentucky.
That's what exactly they said. And a lot of kids, I hate to say this, I'm going to say this on this podcast. Most kids go to college to play for the coach versus the university.
Well, especially now.
Yeah, they follow the coach.
Z, I'm reminded of a saying.
A lot of them do, and some of them.
Yeah, I'm reminded of a saying from my mom when I talk about the Hogs tournament chances, NCAA tournament chances. She always used to say, where there's life, there's hope.
Man,
Dross, you're the glass half full guy. Paint us a scenario where this team, climbs out of the cellar and shocks everyone and gets the NCAA tournament. If anyone can do it, it's you.
Yeah, I'll try to paint it, as good as you can, and a win at Rupp Arena would go a long ways. I think this Kentucky team, I don't think that they'll be able to beat Tennessee. I may be wrong. Kentucky wins games sometime that you just out of the blue you think, wow, that was impressive. I just don't think they'll win at Tennessee, so they're going to come in on some losses, and they're going to be very motivated. It'll be interesting how motivated because their players that are there now, they didn't play for Coach Cal. They don't have a resentment or any issues with Coach Cal. They just play at Kentucky's deal. And I think the pressure will be on Kentucky. And this is the kind of win you need to go get if you want to play in the NCAA tournament, especially if you're 1-6. This is one of the, it's a top 15 ranked team for four guys. I'd say two of their best four are not been playing. Maybe they play Saturday. Lamont Butler from San Diego State is their most physical guard. He's their best defensive player. He's not been playing, shoulder injury. And then Andrew Carr, the big kid inside, the post kid, he's not been playing. He's been hurt. And so they might be back. We also have a very good player that we know is out for the foreseeable future in Boogie Glenn. So I don't think we're going to see the Kentucky that was playing in November and in December. Now, that being said, we're on the road. It'll be a very difficult game. There'll be a lot of emotion. Is it must win for Arkansas? No, it's still not a must win. You go to the SEC tournament, if you don't have a good schedule, it's a must win.
What do you think it takes?
Go to the SEC tournament to win it.
7 or 8 conference wins for teams to get to the NCAA tournament if you have a decent overall resume.
I think you need at least 8 wins.
Go 8-10 in conference play.
I think you need to go 8-10.
I would say 8. And he is incredibly head over heels with the SEC. I just don't think you can go. I don't think 6-12 is deserving of going to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
right.
Unless you beat a lot of great teams in the non.
Well, unless you beat the top 6 in the conference, you beat the top 6.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm like Coach Z. We got to win some games.
Yeah.
And how does it start? At Kentucky on Saturday.
And the reality is, with this schedule, you only get one shot at the elite teams: Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama. I mean, you get one shot at those guys, and that's a good thing, but it's probably a bad thing on where they're at, as far as getting the wins.
Well, if you 1-6, it's a bad thing because you need to try to play them twice and maybe
you got to scratch out 7 more wins. And you said they have 5 home games, so you steal 2 on the road and get all 5.
5-0.
Yeah, you got to beat Alabama at home.
We've already lost 3.
Yeah,
we lost 3 at home, correct? Already.
Yeah, this lost
3 at home.
Lost Oklahoma was huge. Even the announcers mentioned it during the game that the team that wins this, you may not look good, but it's big for them.
Yeah, that was a big win for Oklahoma. I think that puts them way ahead of us to get in the tournament because when you win on the road, I think it counts almost twice. Yeah. So that was a big, big win. That's a game we should have won. I just think, like you said, we got a 6-point lead and the basketball. And then we don't convert, and then we get 2 fouls on 3-point shooters. That's a game, they're going to look back at that game and say, this is a game that really, really had a lot of influence on our season. We didn't play well in other games, but we played well enough against Oklahoma to win. Oklahoma, to me, was a lot like us. They were up and down. They made a lot of shots early. But in the second half, they didn't make shots. And we had them right there on the ropes.
Hey, football fans, the college football playoffs are here, and the Triple Option Podcast is your go-to source. Be sure to join Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram II, and I each week as we march closer to Atlanta and crowning a new college football national champion.
This is a physically challenged offensive team. I mean, you're shooting 37% from the floor in conference play, or 36%, and you haven't really been over 40%, I don't think, in any game. Your opponents are going to the free throw line just a little more than you are. And this is a stat that probably should be flipped the other way, but you're taking more three-pointers. And that's something where John L. Davis has got to realize, and someone's got to tell him, that when he's having a game, if he's 3 of 4, maybe shoot 11 shots. But 3 of 11 hurts the team, even if you're open. And I got to think on the other side, and Z and I talked about this, they're probably saying, let that guy shoot his 3.
Well,
that's why he's open so often.
Right.
But you've got to have some self-restraint to say, hey, I'm not helping the team. He continues, and I keep hoping they're going to go in, but he continues to launch those threes. I mean, I go back to last year, he shot 30% of his shots were threes. This year, and maybe he thinks he's got to hit the threes to get to the NBA, he shot 65 shots in conference play. You know how many have been threes out of 65?
Probably 20%.
43.
43
threes.
Yeah.
Wow, that's too many.
Yeah.
So everybody knows when he catch the ball, he's not looking to attack. He's gonna catch and shoot.
I think you got to check yourself. You know when you played, Ernie. You know when you're hitting it. Even Todd Day, if you're hitting, you don't go 3 for 20.
Yeah.
Now Pat Bradley would, but he was different.
Yeah. But Nolan used to say, let him shoot because there's a reason. If a guy's 3 of 11, you want him to shoot. And I think Nelly Davis has the green light. But as I said last week, Nelly, get in the gym, start making some twos, then you may convert to 3. I just think everybody knows he's going to shoot 3-pointers. He's not going to attack the rim at all. So the scouting report is if he make one get on him after that, he's going to continue to shoot 3. He needs to fill the stat sheets up. He needs to get assists. He needs to get rebounds. You got to give him credit. On defense, he gets a lot of touches. He touches the ball a lot. He's not a bad player. He just hadn't been able to shoot the basketball like he did at Florida Atlantic. And I don't know if it's a bigger stage. I don't know if the players are better, but I know that it's a different game in the SEC. Every night you playing top-tier athletes and great basketball
This
players.
team can't be shooting 27 of your 54 shots, 3-pointers. And that was the case Saturday. And we say there were great looks. I think Z mentioned it. The scouting report is let all these guys shoot. I mean, no one on that team has really lit you up from 3-point range, and that's Z is probably one of the better percentage guys.
Yeah. And he's like the only guy the other night against Oklahoma when he caught it, they were trying to be out there, and he still made a couple threes, but they know he can. But I think the rest of them, they want to kind of test it like with the dude Thero. That's why he had to take those threes. They were way back off him more than other teams. Other teams have been out there on him. Even Tennessee tried to get out there on him, and then it kind of allowed him to drive more. OU was like, man, we're not letting you get too many shots. We're gonna let you shoot.
Yeah, you hate to see Thero with four
shots.
shots.
I think this coaching staff does a good job, but I think they need to reinforce this team and tell this team we really are shooting too many 3-pointers. If you shoot the ball 54 times and you shoot 20, that every 2 shots you shooting a 3. That's too many. You got to get down here, get to the free throw line. And make the game easy. I think we sometimes makes the game hard because everybody has fallen in love with what?
One thing I noticed in the half-court offense, and maybe it's a function of we've never been a great half-court offense team, we don't do a lot of screening. I mean, Z makes attempts, and he's somewhat successful, but I don't see our bigs doing a lot of screening and getting the open, creating those open drives. And I don't know. This is just not a good offensive team. And you look on look at DJ Wagner. I think he scored 12 or 13 points. That's DJ Wagner. He's not a guy that's going to get you 20 or 25. Where are you getting your points? If Thero's only shooting 4 times, you're not getting much from him. You just don't have many guys that are providing you.
That's where Trevin and Jonas Adu got to pick up that scoring.
And Trevin is a good shooter. I think he's 4 of 8 from 3-point range in conference play. He just, he just doesn't, move the meter in the, 2 attempts.
I don't understand that. A guy that can shoot the basketball is shooting 2 times.
Yeah, one of them was he comes flying in out of nowhere and, like this incredible athletic play and almost puts the follow in, and then you don't see him for another 3 or 4 minutes. And it's just when you're losing, it's so easy just to pick this team apart, and it's a difference between, they should have won that game on Saturday. And that really, and Z, I asked him.
That's the toughest loss of the season.
Yeah.
That's been our toughest loss of the season to me, not close. That's the hardest loss.
Yeah.
Right, because that's a game we up 6 points in the second half and half the basketball missed a shot, and then we go down and make 2 crucial defensive mistakes. I just think this team has got to find a way to just win one.
Yeah,
I mean,
think how much different this podcast is in this week leading up to Kentucky if we have back-to-back wins. And kind of the thought is nationally that maybe Arkansas is turning this thing around, and this game against Kentucky becomes a big game. But it's just, you had a perfect opportunity at home, and shame on them for not learning the formula to win the previous game when they hit the boards, got to the free throw line. And as you pointed out, the game was officiated different. I was wondering when Arkansas would get a foul in the first half. I think it came with 4 minutes to go in the first half. They picked up their first foul.
We didn't foul the whole half till, like you said, right at the end.
It seemed like the second half, there were fouls the entire half.
Well,
yeah.
I'm an official, and I'm going to say this. You have to make officials make decisions. If you just pass it around and shoot 3-pointers, that's the easy game in the world to officiate because you're shooting threes.
Yeah.
But if you start attacking the basket and start going downhill, then you put pressure on the official to make a call. But when you shoot threes, it's easy because that's what we want. But when you go to attacking, getting in the paint, contact, you make the decision, says that marginal contact or if there's enough there to be a foul.
Ernie needs to talk to them before the game. From an official standpoint.
Yes. You got to go. Just tell him, Matt, you coach. Matt was probably the best coach. He understood what the officials was doing. I got a good friend named Scott Stark, and he always talk about how Matt Zimmerman was smart enough to say, this is the way they call in the game tonight. So you have to adjust and play the way they're calling the game. And I just don't see our guys understanding the concept. In the SEC, if you go to the hole late and there's any contact, there's a foul. We don't even go to the hole.
Yeah.
You got to be smart. And Coach Stellick got a saying, are you playing to play or are you playing to win?
And to win.
And I'm wondering if this Arkansas team is playing to play or playing to win. Don't look like they're playing to win as a unit yet. Once they get that taste and start winning, we're not a bad basketball team. We just a play or 2 away from winning 3 or 4 of those games.
I just don't see the points on this roster. I just don't see, consistently, unless Z has turned the corner now and he's going to be a 10 to 15 point game guy.
This is what's going to happen. On the plane Friday to Lexington, Coach Z is going to give a pep talk, probably when they get over the Mississippi River and pull out a clip and tell them this is the recipe to go to Rupp Arena and win. Coach Z has been on that side when Arkansas went to Rupp Arena and won. He know what it takes to win over there. He's on the plane with them. He's right there with these guys. Just give them a pep talk. Tell them to go play, but tell them to play to win.
We have the greatest video in the Channel 7 archives from the first time Nolan went to Rupp Arena. And
great video.
And what a great win it was for him because he'd heard how good the SEC was and how good Kentucky was. And he went there and stuck it to him.
Last year and smacks him. Rick Pitino.
Yes.
Smacked him, Sully.
Yeah. I knew someone that knew Rick Pitino, and he said he loved Nolan. He said, but he hated losing to Nolan. He said, because he said, I'm up all night scheming for this game and everything. I know he's not doing that.
No.
He said Nolan was worried about his team.
His team.
And what they did.
Yeah.
You've got a program that's reached an elite level when you don't worry about the other guys. You worry about your team. That's where you want to be.
That's what, and Matt probably can remember this. We was getting ready to play Texas.
That's when Arkansas was great.
That's when we were great. I remember when we was ready to play Texas one time, and Matt probably remembered it. Tom Penders was peeping out from his office, and Coach Richardson saw him and said, "Come on down, Tom. the kids are going to have to defend this tomorrow. You don't have to be people what we're doing. And we went right back to practice. He always said
he didn't care.
He didn't care.
Yeah.
He worried about how his team prepared.
Yeah.
And Matt noticed if we practice bad, he just may say, hey, 6 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
Do it again.
But that's when you know you got a program when regardless of who you play, they're worried about you and you're putting your imprint on the game. And very seldom were people ever to, dictate what Arkansas did.
Wow.
Those are so many great memories from then, Sully, and those great teams. And you said Coach Richardson, they did a scouting report, but he didn't do like they do now, where they'd spend an hour talking about the opponent. He'd talk a little bit, go over some personnel, some strengths and weaknesses, and then he was worried about what Razorbacks were going to do. And it was a lot different mindset than most all coaches do now. And that's why he was unorthodox a little bit. But
he told
from
me
1988 to 1996, that's the greatest era of Razorback basketball. Sometimes we always
Can you say that again? Can you say that again? What year was that?
1988 to 1996 Arkansas was as good as anybody in the country.
You're
during
exactly
that time.
right. We wanted to win this program in the country at that time.
Nolan said one time, he said, this is for real too. He said, you can tell a guy all week that guy goes right, and that guy goes right or goes left. In the first play of the game, he just goes right by him and said, instincts take over.
She's correct.
He said, and you these instincts that you've created over years and years of playing basketball, it's tough to change someone.
He's exactly right.
And hey, there's all different ways to do things, and there's no questioning what Nolan did, and he did it his way, and just such great memories. And I'm glad that he, in like any other coach, like no other coach, he was not afraid of any of his words getting out or what he did in the locker room.
Nope.
He trusted Tim Hamilton,
Yeah,
Paul
Tim
Eels.
Hamilton.
Yeah. I mean, they would be the only one. I'm like, why is Channel 7 the only one? They would be the only ones in the dressing room.
I remember one time when Ole Miss beat Arkansas with and had Jason Jennings on the team, and he said, my friends told me not to recruit you. He was so honest with these people, and
Jason, great kid.
Yeah, and the one thing he never did, there was never preferential treatment for the stars.
Nope.
For Corliss or Scotty or for
Todd, Lee, Big O. He treated everybody the same.
Yeah. And that's hard to do in any age, because there's egos going on, and but that was a different time now. I don't think Nolan would survive with some guy making as much as he was making.
I don't think that would work.
Sully, Ernie, could you see Hogs Plus in the locker room with Coach Richardson?
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
No, that would be the best stuff because he would let it all go on the air.
Oh man!
He had no.
Look at Matt.
No, that stuff is gold with him in the locker room.
Yeah.
I mean, just the way, and one thing he did every time was he'd go in there after, if it was Matt Jones helping out the basketball team, he'd never congratulate the stars. He'd say, "How about Matt Jones or Joe Dean Davenport? He had like one rebound. What the heck did he do? How about Joe Dean Davenport?" He was never about massaging the egos of the elite players.
Well, and one thing Coach Richardson could do, everybody on that roster was ready to play when your number was called. So he always said, "I'm going to start 5, but that may not be the 5 finish the game."
And he always said, too, "I'll never be caught without a shooter." I mean, who goes to Massachusetts and recruits Pat Bradley?
Wow.
We are looking at that cat. I'm thinking, what do you want with a white guy from Everett?
He could fill it up.
But he saw him at the end of a game.
So I went to see another kid.
Yeah.
And like Pat Bradley.
And then Al Dillard.
Al Dillard.
He didn't look at
Al
Dillard.
Dillard. Nobody's recruiting Al Dillard.
Yeah.
He was an older guy that was,
working in the grocery store.
Yeah, but Nolan saw that cat could shoot, and never would get caught. Gennaro Pargo, they always had a great shooter on that team. And we're searching for that right now.
We don't have one. We don't have a great shooter. You're exactly right.
We need to go start looking for Al Dillards of the world, have tryouts. All right. Appreciate you, Z. It was a lot of fun.
All right. See you soon, Coach.
Hey, enjoy your trip
Always enjoy talking to y'all. Y'all are the best.
Hey, enjoy your trip to Lexington. That's going to be fun on Saturday night. That'll be a great experience.
Y'all enjoy watching it. Y'all are going to have a good seat. Y'all enjoy it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, buddy.
Pull it through, Coach.
Yeah, it'd be sure would be nice to win.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of the Hog Central Podcast. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Hog Central Podcast. New episodes drop weekly on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.